License to kill you. Yeah, Glass Knight, everyone. My terrible Glass Knight. But no, License to Kill. First up, really underrated Bond song that when I was like looking over the songs, like that's a really good Bond song. I like how they really mixed up the 007 theme a little bit and changed it up. But License to Kill came out in, oh god, I actually forgot to get this up. I was moving so fast. Got a license to kill. And I'm aim for your heart. Came out another 2 years later in 1989. Now this was at the height of the 80s going into the 90s. And it still shows. This does still feel like an 80s movie. It does not feel like a 90s movie. But it stars again Roger Moore as James Bond. And then Robert Davi as Franz Sanchez, as well as Felix Leiter, played by who played Felix Leiter in this version? David Hansen. Q comes back. There are two different Bond girls, Carrie Lowell as Pam Bolivar and Tassilia Soto as Lupe Lamora. And this is kind of what a lot of people like to talk about this Bond as. This is what happens when Bond goes off the reservation legit. Like, this isn't when, like, Craig kind of goes off the reservation and he's still being, getting endorsements and being helped by Emma a little bit. No. This is when he's actually kind of denounced by the MI6. And how does he do what he wants to do, what he needs to do? Obviously, for those of you who remember this, it's the one where Felix Leiter gets married and then his wife gets killed. He gets his leg bitten off by a shark. I want to point out right the F now, this might be the bloodiest and goriest of any of the James Bond films, period. You legitimately see the stump of a leg they have for Felix Leiter. You see, it's famous for the death of the henchman who, is in the the pressurized container. I can't remember exactly what it is, and then basically explodes from explosive decompression. Excuse me, hold on. Oh, sorry about that. Just checking my pulse. I'm like, look, that fell off. The explosive decompression, like, it just explodes from it. And yeah, it's one of the gritty Bond movies. Yeah, it's definitely a gritty Bond. You actually watch a guy get mulched by a device that's designed to like break down like cocaine and crack. And you just see his legs, him get mulched. It was played by the henchman played by Benicio del Toro. You see him just get mulched. Like, how far are they going to go with this movie? Like, they go pretty effing far. Dalton is still really great as Bond. It's great to actually see him really take this kind of something personal like this. Like, he's friends with he is good friends with Felix Leiter, absolutely. And when his friend is mutilated, his wife, brand new wife, killed. It's both of them who he knew personally. It's like, no, Bond is out for revenge, and he's not going to stop till you're dead. And yeah, man, he sells it. Dalton was definitely one of the edgier Bonds, to be certain. Now, granted, as the times went on, we would get more modern, more edgier versions of Bond, certainly. But Dalton definitely deserves his praise as being kind of the forerunner of that. I mean, Connery definitely was rougher around the edges than Moore was. Moore was definitely the pretty boy. Dalton goes back closer to Connery, but he is able to be pushed a little farther because he's in a different era and timeline, era of filmmaking than Connery was. And further shown by the fact that their villain, played by, again, Robert Davi, Johnson from Agent Johnson, no relation, from Die Hard, but Franz Sanchez is another underrated Bond villain, in my opinion. Actually, having rewatched this movie now, because I rewatched it yesterday to prepare for this review, I gotta say that Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys who isn't necessarily classically handsome, but he's got a very rugged, rough charm to him in terms of like a face. But he is very charming in terms of how he holds himself. He's very but he's when he wants to be like intimidating, like, oh, I'm gonna feed you to the sharks. Oh, I'm gonna break your legs. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. It's like, no, when he is intimidating and he is a scary man because he, unlike say like a Goldfinger or a Drax or a Strongwell or a Largo, unlike them, hey, first off, he has no connection with Spectre, which half the people I just mentioned didn't either, at least. But he's not some rich billionaire with a crazy plan or anything. That I think is one of the big things. He has no crazy plan. He is a drug lord who is just doing what he does and still doing what he does. His plan is just to sell more coke. That's all it is. And it's Bond trying to kill this guy who manipulated his friend and killed his wife. And yeah, that sick charm that comes with him. Like, this guy, like, you would actually get the impression that if you weren't on his bad side, he's actually a very pleasant guy to be around. He's got a good smile. He's got great hospitality to him. He just comes off as a very likable guy in many ways. But when push comes to shove, it's like, that's not my money. No, you're right. It's my money. And then basically he just breaks and blows the guy's head off, shoots a guy in cold blood because he can, because he's pissed off. That's the only reason he did it. Like, this guy is messed up. Now there are scenes that I don't quite understand in some ways, like Bond knocking a security guy out and throwing him into a vat of maggots. Like, I get it. Bond's bon appetit is like, you do realize, Bond, that maggots don't eat living flesh, which you just knocked the guy out. You didn't kill him. Therefore, he's just going to wake up in a thing of maggots. That's it. Other things like the manta ray, like disguise scene. Like, I'm watching that again. Like, how long has Bond been down there waiting for them to basically see him look like a manta ray and then sneak onto the boat? Oh God, I'm sorry. I apologize. My reflex has been a little up and down lately, so got the gas. So I apologize profusely. So yeah, there's a couple things where I'm like, logic kind of is out the window just a little bit. But other than that, though, it's still not bad at all. Got to see Shang Tsung in there. He played an undercover agent trying to get Sanchez, and that failed. Our Bond girls, Pam Bouvier and Lupe Lamora, they're both fine. I like the fact we get a bit more of a what's the best way to put it? You get more of like just an American Bond girl, to be frank, because a lot of times they're not American. But no, with Pam, you got an American one who I appreciate her because she's not in the know per se, but she's also not out of the loop, and it actually comes back to bite Bond in the ass where there's a moment where he does realize that his own personal vendetta is causing more problems for other people than it is helping in some ways. And I do find that a bit of a reflection because he's basically just hell-bent on killing Sanchez. And the truth is that he didn't actually realize what the actual ramifications would have been for other people's work towards Sanchez. Q comes back and he gives Bond this fun little gun that is a camera, which is very fun. There apparently is also a camera that's a laser. So yeah, why we didn't use the laser camera, I have no idea. But the action sequences, like the end car chase, is really intense. It's a lot of fun. There's not a huge, actually thinking on it, there really aren't a huge amount of action. There is one involving Ninja, which is weird as hell. like that. I think back on it like, what happened here? And like it really has been a while since I watched this movie. But I mean, the minor quibbles they have are minor. Like, you don't get like any uncomfortable moments like with this Bond like you did in Living Daylights, where he, ripped the woman's top off and had her bare chest to distract the guy coming in. You don't get anything like that here, but you can definitely see a man driven by a purpose with this Daniel Craig Bond. So, Timothy Dalton Bond. So ultimately, I'm a big proponent of this one. I like this one a lot. Is it one of my favorites? I don't know if I go that far, but it's definitely a good one. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like this movie? Do you hate this movie? Or is it just okay? Put in the comments below. But hit that bell if you want notifications. Ideas for who would win Star Wars Superior Magic What If. Who would win? Anything I do on the channel, you know where to put it. Reviews, you know where to put them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, folks. Later.